Great finding a problem and a solution. Based on that, I'm also curious about other use cases for the technology.
Do you imagine each family to have their own ClimaCrate, or is this going to be stockpiled at a hospital?
Since we're offering a product that lasts another 12 hours longer and can last even longer as long as you refill the water, we would be like a complete game changer in this market.
Hi, I'm Veda.
I'm Allison, and we are ClimaCrate, a lifeline for your loved ones with diabetes.
When Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, 85% of the island was left without power. Hospitals collapsed, emergency services were overwhelmed, and people with chronic illnesses were left without a way to properly store their medications.
One resident, Sophia, a wife and mother of two, was left in a devastating reality. The power went out, and her husband's insulin was going to be spoiled. She was seen in the hospital hallways, crying and pleading for someone to give her ice to store her husband's insulin safely. No one should ever have to face that kind of fear, helplessness, and desperation.
But Sophia's loss was just one of hundreds. In the months after the hurricane, 195 diabetics lost their lives due to a lack of refrigerated insulin.
But here's the thing. These deaths were preventable.
These people died not because of a natural disaster, but because of a lack of proper medical storage. Sophia could have been any of us. A wife, a mother, a daughter. Just someone doing their best to protect the people they love.
That's why we created ClimaCrate, a lifeline for your loved ones with diabetes. ClimaCrate is a zero electricity fridge that uses evaporative cooling, solving and reducing the problem of cold chain failure.
That means when the power goes out, your ClimaCrate stays on.
But how do we even keep insulin cold without a single watt of electricity? Let's break it down.
Our fridge begins with a waterproof plastic casing that holds all our other components together. This is followed by a layer of insulating foam sealant, which keeps the cold air in, and a layer of reflective mylar, which keeps the heat radiation out. This mylar is sandwiched in between two layers of absorbent burlap, which also houses our hydrogel. Our final layer is our inner chamber, where you can actually store your insulin.
To activate the cooling, simply pour the water into the hydrogel. As the water begins to evaporate, the heat will travel away from the inner chamber. This is called evaporative cooling.
For just 1 gallon of water, your ClimaCrate stays cool for up to 48 hours at a time, at which point you can revive your hydrogel with water for another cycle of cooling. This system keeps your fridge at medically safe temperatures.
We are currently partnering with two nonprofits to pilot our product in the field, All Hands and Hearts and Direct Relief. We are excited to put our product in the field with them in the future. We have also been in contact with other organizations, such as American Red Cross and Convoy of Hope. We've been in conversation with them, asking them about their problems, their current solutions, and how we as ClimaCrate can help.
We are currently manufacturing one ClimaCrate for $80 and retailing at $160, keeping us at a comfortable 50% profit margin. In just 1 week, we have managed to raise $270 in donations from people like you who believe in our mission. We are asking for $200,000, 75% of which will be put towards hiring an expert, and the remainder 25% of which will be put towards obtaining our materials to help us test our product.
Among our competitors, ClimaCrate is the only product that is electricity-free, ice-free, under $200, and can last over 48 hours.
We will begin recruiting an expert in August of 2025.
And by February of 2026, we'll have already hired this expert and begun our MVP research.
In August of that same year, we will begin and complete our MVP,
which we will then ship out in September of 2026 through our nonprofits.
We are the best team to create this product because we all personally know either a family member or a friend who has been diagnosed with diabetes, and we would never want them to be in a situation where they don't have access to their basic medications. So we created ClimaCrate specifically for people like them in mind.
The tragedies like the ones in Puerto Rico were devastating.
But with ClimaCrate, families like Sophia's don't have to suffer that kind of loss. It's the difference between life and death.
We are already partnering with 2 nonprofits, but we need your help to get it to everyone who needs it. Not just Sophia's family, but the ones you love too.
Thank you, and protect your loved ones with ClimaCrate.
Thank you so much. My first question is, it looks like 75% of your funding is for this expert. Can you tell us a little bit more about, what this expert would do or how they're critical to your MVP research? And I guess in that as well, I'm curious about, I imagine that there are some supply chain logistics or manufacturing, and I didn't necessarily see that in your fundraising. So just trying to get some more details there.
Okay, so the reason we want to hire an expert is because none of us are experts in thermodynamics or mechanical engineering. And so we would want their advice to further develop our prototype. And that's the first step for us to be able to then manufacture and then further develop our prototype.
More about the manufacturing. Like Rylan said, we want to be able to hire an expert to actually test our product and make sure that it works, because most of our roadmap is also building our actual MVP. So we want to ensure 100% that it works, and then in the distant future, we will be manufacturing large scale, which is why that is not included in our costs.
Thank you.
I had a question about, first off, great finding a problem and a solution. I'm curious if there's any novel IP or if you've been iterating on anything in particular. And then based on that, I'm also curious about other use cases for the technology.
Okay, so yes, we are looking into making this IP in the future. So obviously, our first steps would be after we fully develop an MVP, we want to then get a utility patent and a design patent, as well as a trademark. But of course, that's way further down the line. And then, I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
Other use cases?
Oh, yeah. So Rishi, can you go back to the competitor analysis? So we have these three main competitors. And out of the three of them, the most used would be P-Lab Biothermal, which is what most nonprofits are currently using to this day to transport and store insulin. Internationally. But the problem with P-Lab Biothermal is that they're extremely high cost, as well as the fact that their cooling only lasts like 24 to 36 hours. So since we're offering a product that lasts another 12 hours longer and can last even longer as long as you refill the water, we would be like a complete game changer in this market. So I don't think that would be too much of an issue for us.
And something we're also reiterating of or tweaking in our own way is it's based off of something called a Zier pot, which has been used in rural areas for quite some time now. So it's usually that was used to store foods, but with our added technologies and the extra tweaks we made it to store insulin. So
Hello. Do you imagine each family to have their own ClimaCrate, or is this going to be like stockpiled at a hospital? And just out of curiosity, how much storage room after all the hydrogel and stuff can you do you have a rough estimate of how much insulin you can store in the box?
Yeah. So our model for making money is actually selling directly to nonprofits themselves. So we won't be selling directly to families. We'll instead be going to nonprofits, and they will take care of distributing these to shelters or even people who need it. And even though this is currently a prototype, the inner chamber dimensions right now are 9 by 9 by 14 inches, and including everything else that needs to go in the inner chamber, this should be able to fit around 40 to 48 100 milliliter insulin bags.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ClimaCrate.
Well, I'm very lucky because my job and my life's work is working with young people. So I'm so thankful to get to be here today with Leangap and everyone here. This year has been absolutely incredible. the speeches at the beginning, all the pitches, everybody brought their AAA game. So right now we're going to talk about best pitch. Best pitch is what we were looking for in terms of storytelling, narrative. Did it have all the elements of a pitch in terms of talking about problems, solutions, competitors, cost, and so on? And
without further ado, the best pitch goes to ClimaCrate. This was a unanimous decision amongst all of the judges. We were honestly speechless, blown away by the storytelling, the public speaking in your pitch. You seamlessly weave together your user stories, the problem space, the impact you had, and the longer term vision in a beautiful way. So huge congratulations to the team.